Hello, and welcome to Red Hawk Spotlight. My name is Peter Blazon, and today I am joined by Rob Chesney, Athletic Director here at Montclair State University. Before we start, I wanted to point that due to the current COVID-19 global pandemic, also known as coronavirus, we weren't able to conduct this interview in our usual studio. However, in the world of technology that we live in, the show must go on, and here we are via Zoom. So Rob, let me start by saying I hope you and your family are staying safe and healthy.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yep. So far, everyone's healthy here, and it's tight space. Everyone in one house, but we're doing okay, and it's all good. Hope same for all you guys too.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Given the seriousness of the coronavirus, how are you adjusting to what many call the new normal?
Yeah, I think like everybody, this isn't unique to us. This is everybody all around the world. So it's a situation that's it's evolving. We're trying to all figure it out. I think people are doing their best. Certainly can only speak from our department in our area, and we're working hard to try and keep things running and keep things normal as they can be given the situation. And, we're hopeful that there's something that's going to change and be better for everybody soon.
So since all MSU sports have been canceled, how does that change the day-to-day operations for the athletic department?
Well, it changes significantly, right? I mean, for us, if you're not playing on the field, if you're not in the court, you're not in the pool, you're not in track, you're not practicing, then really, sort of our function is difficult, obviously. So with that stuff stopped, like everything, we're on a holding pattern. We're waiting to see. I'm sure kids are doing their best to stay fit in their at home. Getting out, trying to keep your minds with it. Coaches have been talking to the teams. The main thing right now is to continue, make sure your academics stay up, make sure you're doing well with your classes, and you continue in that line. That's probably the most important thing right now. You stay healthy, you keep your academics up, and then sports will find its way back here soon enough.
Yeah, definitely. Health is definitely the most important right now. As the head of the department, what has been the most challenging aspect for you when dealing with these changes?
Well, I think, we have a great staff. I think everybody's jumped in here. We've used the whole group. We've gotten great instruction from the university administration that's kept, us informed. And then we've been able as a group internally here within the department to continue to talk quite a bit, update each other in the different areas that we all coordinate, and then pass that information along to whether it's to the rest of the staff or to the student athletes. And, that's probably the biggest challenge, but it's also been, I feel right now, quite successful. I think everybody's working hard to keep everybody informed. And that's the main thing during this. And we've been getting great instruction from above me, and internally here, we've been trying to pass that along to our group to keep everybody up to date.
Okay. So Mike Scala, who has been at MSU for 25 years in sports information, said he keeps looking at the calendar, and in his mind, he starts planning for a game that's not going to take place. Can you or others in your department kind of relate to that?
I think everybody's probably in the same boat there, right? Mike knows every game that's probably been played for the last 26 years. So I'm sure he's itching. But everybody, yeah, we're just not used to this. You're used to a game every other day. Watching games on TV, going to watch other games, going to watch practices, going to watch recruits, club games, getting ready, trying to bring kids in for next year. And it's all on hold. So, yeah, I think we're all, wondering when's it coming next and when can we get back to normal.
Mm-hmm. As a sports fan, I have to say, not having a single game to watch has been rough. But I really feel for the student athletes whose seasons have been cut so short. Have you been able to talk to any of the athletes and maybe get some of their reactions?
Well, through the staff, I sent a letter out to the student athletes earlier in the week. I think it was Monday morning, just to let them know, give them some information about what we're doing as a department, although it's already been communicated from the coaches, but I want to follow up myself and from our administrative group and let them know. Losing out on the season for spring sports is really disappointing for all of us. And I let them know that. And it's especially disappointing for the senior athletes. There's nothing really more to say, about that. It's just really, it's tough. It's one of the tougher decisions. I don't know that we even had to make it. It was made for us. It was made for everybody around the country, from professional ranks to youth leagues. So we didn't really make the decision, but to be involved in that decision was difficult. So, you really feel bad for those, young men and women all around the country who've had that happen, and certainly within our department. So, the good thing is the NCAA instituted is giving everybody the year back. So for those students who are going to be here, for the student athletes who want to come back for another year, they're going to be able to do that, and talking with their coaches and the bigger discussions as we get more information, we'll deal with that. But at least there'll be, that's a little bit of a caveat to the whole thing.
So what is the best advice you think you can give to your students during these difficult and uncertain times?
I think the best advice to the students is what, all of our coaches have been saying, probably what they're hearing from their own families. And I think that is to, follow the instructions that everybody's given, stay healthy, do your best to stay healthy and keep your family healthy. That's number one. And stay on top of your academics. I think that's really important. And like I said, I think the sports piece will work its way back when it's appropriate, and hopefully that's sooner than later. But that's our advice, and that's kind of just a simple mantra that we've just been following. Get the information to them, stay healthy, stay on top of your academics, stay in touch with your coaches and teammates to keep that social piece of it a part of it, and the athletic piece will fall into place.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I know in the mid 1980s, you were a student athlete yourself here at MSU, and a very successful one, might I add. Not only were you a 2-time All-American and 4-year All-Conference and All-Region selection, but you led the men's soccer team to an NJAC championship in a year where you were named the league's Player of the Year. If this global pandemic were to hit while you were still a player, how do you think you would have reacted to that or felt?
I don't think anybody knew, I think everybody would probably react very similarly. I don't know, although back then there wasn't as much information available. So now you get information, immediately from all different sources, all different social media, from news networks, from the internet, from everything. So I think now everybody's more informed and informed certainly faster than it would have been at that time. So it probably would have been a little bit different. The end result would have been the same. I think we would have been hugely disappointed in the fact that a season was canceled, that we couldn't play, we couldn't participate. I don't think that changes from, late 80s, 90s, 2000s to way back in the 50s, 60s. I think people would be disappointed that they couldn't do something. So that part of it, from a player's perspective, I certainly can feel for all these guys and girls, ladies. I think that's a tough situation, but sooner than later we can get back to it.
Yeah, for sure. So earlier you mentioned that students have been given back the year of eligibility the year that they just lost this season. Do you expect any MSU spring athletes to take advantage of this?
Yeah, I would. I expect that certain athletes will. Again, it just came out, so we don't have all the information, all the details on how it's gonna roll itself out. It'll be up to the coaches to discuss that and our compliance team to discuss that with the student athletes. There'd be different scenarios for each team and for each individual, whether they're finishing school, whether they're going to graduate, whether they have jobs lined up, whether they're able to come back. There's all different parts of it, but it will be available. All the details, we don't have all the details just yet. So, but there will be an option.
So the coaches aren't often spoke about, but with the season ending so abruptly, they're affected just as much as anyone else. Can you give some specific examples of how your coaches are adjusting?
Sure. I think it's one of those situations that nobody's used to. So you go from being out every day, whether it's on the field coaching or going to games to watch, future players, watching film, breaking down tape of games that just happened. The sports that were in season that were canceled, obviously those coaches are, without something that they've been used to for a long time, something that they've done every day. So therefore, it's the same situation. They're at home. They're probably breaking down some old film, getting ready to go again next year. That's all you can do. And, trying to keep in touch with their current, with their team right now, whether it's Zoom meetings, whether it's, conference calls, whether it's individual phone calls or individual meetings by Zoom. They're doing their best to keep in touch and keep everybody informed as well.
So how about the baseball team? New coach Dave Lorber's first season obviously was cut short. It's not easy for any coach, let alone a coach who's excited to begin his first season. How do you think he's been dealing with all this?
Again, like everybody else, yeah, it's been interesting. Dave gets hired late. He jumps right into it, gets going, has to schedule games, has to meet all the players, get to know the players, hold tryouts, select a team, kind of get on the road because it's hard to play up in this area at this time of year, in February. So he's in Maryland, he's in Virginia, and then you come back and all of a sudden it's canceled. But just like everybody else, just like the lacrosse programs and softball and, our track program, Dave's a professional and he gets it. There's nothing we can do about it. So, it's something that he'll take this small window that he got to judge, look at the players and look at the team and try and build off of that for next year.
The men's lacrosse team started strong. So did the softball team before the season was cut short due to the COVID-19 outbreak. What were some of the other early highlights from the spring season?
Well, I think softball starting off 10-0. I'm sure Coach Kubicka didn't want to see things ended so quickly. She would like to see that continue. I know they ended up the Florida trip. I think it was 10-2, right, or 12-2, So yeah, that part's I'm sure even more disappointing. Men's lacrosse is going well. Women's lacrosse felt like they had a good team. Everybody's in. It's hard to say. I think everyone's in the same boat. It was a small sample of the season, but I think people felt good about the way the seasons were going for our spring sports. It was going to be disappointing, either way. But certainly, I think there was some optimism going through our teams, and when that ends, I think people are disappointed for sure.
So how about the teams who play in the fall but use the spring season as off-season training? How does this affect them?
Same way, I think it's different in fact, that the fall sports did get their seasons in, obviously, and the non-traditional season, as we call it here in the spring for those teams, was canceled clearly. So they lose that opportunity to get together. You always get a chance to see some of the maybe younger players, kids who seniors are gone, so you get a chance to see other players in the spring. You lose that opportunity a little bit, but it gives, like I said, everybody's in the same boat, so it's not really a disadvantage. It just is what it is, and now all the teams know that, the coaches know that, and they're communicating with their players and get ready for preseason here in August.
Mm-hmm. So is there a possibility we might see the fall season start a little later than scheduled?
That hasn't been discussed yet. I don't think it's something for us right now that we need to get into in terms of the department. I think we're trying to be positive on this. There's always a chance, because nobody knows how this is going to play out everywhere, right? So there's a chance that we'd have to adjust, and we'll do that as we get there. But I think we're too early for that. We're early April here, and I think the plans are to kind of move forward as expected, as we normally do for preseason for our fall season. And let's hope that that's the case, and if not, we'll adjust as we go. But right now, we're moving forward as planned.
So the week before spring break, 19 members of the lacrosse team shaved their heads for Lacrosse for Life, a charity that supports the top pediatric research hospital in the world, Boston Children's Hospital. The team raised $19,000. What did you think about their new haircuts and their charity work?
Look, it's a great gesture. Matt, Coach Bosky, did a great job with that. it's a credit to all the student athletes who were willing and got involved in that. Good for them. That's awesome, and it's for a great cause. So anytime we can do some of that stuff, man, that makes you feel good. Unfortunately, when you get to see all of them with their head shaved as the timing went, and we ended up, canceling the season and everyone moving out of here. So it was, so as far as that goes, we didn't get a chance to get a couple of great pictures with them. But I think it was a great gesture, good for them, and hopefully it's something they do again in the future for us.
So now that most of us are stuck at home, I think we all have a little bit more downtime than we're used to. What do you like to do to fill that time? Any suggestions for us?
Suggestions. I've been watching a lot of Chicago PD. But I think it's good to get out and get a walk in or get a run in. Today is a great day. Hopefully, if the weather continues to cooperate, it makes it a little bit easier, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's always good. I try to tell my own kids, kind of keep a little bit of a schedule, get up, do your schoolwork, get a little exercise in, finish your schoolwork, and then then you have a little free time to do what you would normally do, and whether that's get on video games or watch some movies or do some puzzles, whatever that is. I think that's what we're trying to do, keep a little bit of structure.
All right, well, thank you for joining us, Rob. Tune in next week for yet another Red Hawk Spotlight.
Thanks so much, appreciate it.